Okay, good. Well, really excited for the last session of the online user acquisition zone in App Promotion Summit Berlin 2021. You join us now in the third day of the festivities. This is the second day of the online event. Had some really good talks so far. Really excited to finish off with this excellent session from Christian at Customalytics and Chikaudi from WeShare. So please give them the final App Promotion Summit Berlin. Welcome to the virtual stage. Over to you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, James. Thanks a lot for having us today. So welcome everyone who is tuning in today for the App Promotion Summit. I hope you had some nice sessions so far. I think some very interesting stuff already, and also maybe some of you attended the physical event last week. So I hope you like that. Great to be back in person as well. So my name is Christian. I'm the co-founder of a company called Customalytics. And I'm here with Chika today from WeShare, who's one of our clients. So Chika, if you want to say a few words about yourself, like that, great to be back in person.
Hello, my name is Chikaudi. I'm the CRM and Performance Marketing Manager at WeShare. And I'm sure you've met my colleague. For those of you that were at the offline event, Daniel, who is also a colleague at WeShare. Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Chika. The topic of today, or what we will talk about today, is essentially under the headline "Money Well Spent." We will talk about user-generated content ads and why we have seen that they can actually outperform your, average high quality, artificially looking high quality production creatives in social media ads. Actually, it's something that we've tried with WeShare, something that we produced as kind of their agency partner, and I think it's very interesting today, and we'll dive into that and kind of look at what we've seen there. Quickly on the agenda before we get to that. I will start with a quick introduction about us and Customalytics. Then we will use a marketing framework that we came up with called the Marketing Mastermind as the vehicle to kind of get into the topic. I will quickly explain a bit about where this kind of advertising that we look at today lives in the broader context of online marketing. Then next up, we will look at the user-generated content for user acquisition in general. What are different brands doing? What's working? What's not working? And then number 4, we will get to the actual campaign that we did together for WeShare, which is on TikTok, paid campaign on TikTok with user-generated content ads. We will talk about campaign insights after that, and then kind of try to distill some best practices for you that you can take away and maybe apply to your own campaigns. And then in the end, talk a bit about what's next after all of that. The about us, yes. So I'm the co-founder of Customalytics. We are a full-stack mobile marketing and tech consulting company in Europe. We are very much laser focused on the mobile app ecosystem. We only have mobile app projects, so there's no desktop or web stuff going on for us, and that's kind of what we do. Inside this niche, we are very broad, and we do everything from the technology integration for tracking and CRM, for example, ASO, but then also more like traditional user acquisition, agency work, creative production, and also CRM campaign management, for example. So that's us. Here's a nice photo of the last team offsite, and yeah, so that's Customalytics. And the setting, like I explained before, is that WeShare is one of our clients, and today we kind of look at what we've produced together. The vehicle to kind of approach the topic of today that we're going to use is the Marketing Master Map. The Marketing Master Map that you see on the screen here is a marketing framework that we have developed in Customalytics over the last years. It's the result of our client projects and everything that we've learned in those client projects and kind of compressed into one big map, so to say. the way it works is that you see all those like colorful boxes at the top. There's 11 steps in here, and we use the steps, which are essentially the steps in the customer journey, from the very first touch point that the brand has with the customer, with the prospect, which is essentially awareness. So a user, even becoming aware that a product or brand exists, to the very end, which is the green stuff, which is the part where a user has become a very loyal customer and is kind of making repeated purchases and everything. And we use these steps in the customer journey and then map against these steps different relevant aspects of online marketing, really. So we will map against the steps the advertising strategies that are kind of relevant and useful in the different parts. We will map, or we are mapping the channels that you should be considering or using in the different steps of the customer journey, and we'll map out departments and technologies. I think especially technology is very interesting because there we can kind of add this layer of, oh, this is the knowledge that we have from all those mobile projects, and we can add that to this. Today, of course, we are talking about user-generated content ads. So the element of the marketing master map that is the most applicable for today is the advertising strategy. And I think what you see here is how the communication that you put on your ads should actually evolve and change depending on where the user is right now in the funnel, in the user funnel. So in the beginning, where we have steps like awareness, interest, and consideration, it's about creating a buzz, really sparking interest so that the user even wants to check out your product, your brand, and wants to get to know what this is all about. Then on the conversion generation part, which is the blue steps, it's more about communicating USPs already, about making sure that the user understands why it's actually the best product for them to use at this moment. And then later on, you have repetition and referral, essentially, where it's kind of, hey, how can you make sure that the user stays a loyal customer? And how can you make sure that the customer actually also talks about the great experience that they have with the product? And the user-generated content ads that we're talking about today, they really live in the very beginning of this user journey. So they are very much in the red boxes here on the left, where it's really about, hey, you try to create awareness, you try to create something that really sparks the interest of the user. So this is where essentially those kind of ads are well positioned in the bigger picture, and yeah, this is the things you try to achieve with those user-generated content ads. Like I said, you try to stick in the minds of the users. You try to create some kind of buzz. Virality is, of course, what everybody's looking for. Hard to achieve, actually. You try to evoke emotions with the advertising that you do at this point. And yeah, so this is kind of the stage that we are in. Later on, like I said already, the communication changes a bit more towards fact-based and kind of, communicating USPs, showing the product in detail. We have some of these aspects actually in our ads, as we will see. And the reason for that is that the user funnel is also not, linear, in the sense that you can clearly separate, this is this step in the funnel and this is this step in the funnel. So our ads are combining messaging to kind of create awareness and also messaging to already talk about why the product is good on an objective basis. Later on, this is the part where it gets complex. This is how to convince users to actually make repeated purchases again. We will talk about that a bit today as well. Here it's really incentivation. How can you make sure that users come again to use the product? And then even more advanced than this, it's about how do you make sure that they are not just coming back to make additional purchases, but that they're coming back to make additional referrals, actually, so that they refer friends and colleagues of themselves to actually also use the product. And that kind of leads up to this part of the marketing master map, where we try to put all the channels again that are kind of relevant in different stages of the user funnel. And here's pretty much where the user-generated content ads that we look at today live. So if you see the left social media box here, that's kind of between interest, consideration, and evaluation. This is the spot that we are talking about today. This is the spot where our kind of user-generated content ads live. I will show you in the end how you can get a copy of the Marketing Master Map. I know it's probably a lot of input now, but I think relevant to see where what we're discussing today sits in the bigger picture of digital marketing. And without further ado, we will go into the topic of today. So every brand tries to create viral ads in some shape or form. That's the goal that all those brands kind of pursue. But not all of them are equally successful in that. And I think what you see when you look at how also the bigger brands approach and also change the approach to their ads, what you see is that it's very hard with this like typical high quality produced kind of, I would always call it artificial marketing ads. If you put these ads on a platform like TikTok, where all the other content that you see is user generated, that is typically not going to see a lot of success. So what also these brands have started to do is essentially the same thing that we will discuss today, making ads that look like they are generated by users. So that's kind of what it is about. And you would be surprised to see how, the engagement rates with these kind of ads are, very different, much better than a lot of the, high quality produced salesy ads, I would call them. And I think the last thing before I hand it over to Chika and she can talk a bit about WeShare, the last thing for me to say here is that for today we are looking at the TikTok platform, and it's always one of the first steps. So whenever you plan to do any marketing activity on any channel, it's very important to look at the demographics, the target group of the people that are present in the platform. It's kind of, well, naturally, you will only be able to address the people that also use the platform or the social network where you're displaying the ads. So it's very relevant to take a look at this, and the data is, of course, available. Very important to take a look at this. And then in the case of TikTok, what you will see is that the target audience here is very young. And if that is mapping out to your kind of goal target audience for your product, that's great. But if not, then you might have to consider something else. In general, TikTok, I think I don't have to explain, is a huge trend, huge hype amongst the younger generation. I think around 20 million users in Germany right now. So that's a big thing. And like I said, important to keep in mind what your target demographics is, and to make sure that you can even reach them on the platform. And with that being said, I hand it over to Chika to actually talk about WeShare a bit.
Thanks, Christian. So this is me. So like I said earlier, I'm the CRM and Performance Marketing Manager at WeShare. WeShare is a 100% electric company. Christian, WeShare is a 100% electric car sharing company. We launched in 2019 in Berlin. And February this year, we also launched in Hamburg. So we are actually located or present in 2 cities. At the moment, we boast of having 2,300 all-electric Volkswagen cars, comprising of both ID3s and ID4s. And our pricing model is quite flexible. So we have pricing model for regular users, so people that frequently use or need our service, and then we have for people that just passively use the service, and this is what we call like regular. And then WeShare Plus users, of course, have a reduced subscription rate, and of course, lastly, we're 100% subsidized by Volkswagen, which is also why we have all Volkswagen cars, in case you're wondering. And then our mission, like every company, that is that is focused on carbon emission is to make sure that every car is carbon emission free, shareable, and affordable. So everyone can actually access a car whenever they need one. And we also provide the advantages of having an own car, but better in the sense that you don't have to worry about, all the hurdles of getting an insurance, or all the hurdles of parking, where to park your car, how to get an insurance for the car, and all of that. So you are free from all of those responsibilities, and you just have a car that you don't have to basically do most of the commitment on, basically. And that's one of the cute perks of WeShare. Now, moving on to the topic of the day, the WeShare campaign. So at WeShare, our main USP is actually registration, and very regularly we come up with, or we think about new strategies on how to get new users, and one of the strategies was exploring TikTok. And in this channel, our goal, as I said before, was to acquire new users, new registrations and installations in our cities, the cities where we're present, so Berlin and Hamburg. The objective of the campaign was conversion. Of course, the big strategy was CPI, so cost per install, and we're targeting based on these two cities, and the time frame we used was September to November. We actually kickstarted on TikTok in September, so up until now we've been exploring different ways on how to get the most content, and the most effect on these channels. So as you can see, one of the first assets that we tried on these different channels is these two creatives that you see here. We work hand in hand with custom analytics in order to strategize and try and prick into the mind of the audience to try and know what it is they're thinking, to try and find out the best way on how to communicate with them, and how to get them to understand the kind of service that we offer, and not just understand it, but actually feel like they have a need for it in their respective lives. And as you can see, we ran this campaign on Facebook, as well as on TikTok. Both the same setting, the same voucher code was given, the same pattern. Everything was actually the same. And then Christian, if you could help me play. Yeah, so this is a snapshot of what the creative looks like. It's just like a moving image. As you can see, people just see this, and we felt like this message was expressive enough to our customers, simple, not too complicated. And yeah, and after this one, we decided, okay, maybe it's time for us to try something more generic, which is why in autumn we decided to go all out and go back to the basics, basically trying to think like the customer, trying to put ourselves into the minds of the customer and think about what might be their most pressing questions. And these were coming from not just TikTok, but other channels that we run. We discovered that some of the most pressing questions that they have to do with our service and all of that. And even before we came up with the idea of creating user-generated ads, we sort of like for TikTok, we decided it's best to actually create very generic ads that users will not feel like they're communicating with like an outsider, but basically feel like an insider, feel like WeShare is something that they can actually inculcate into their basic lives, which is why we created this tailored ads for TikTok. And they were very short and crispy, just basically very generic, very fluid, very organic. We didn't add any brand related content to it. We just wanted the users to feel like, okay, this is something coming from a user that basically uses WeShare on a daily basis. And yeah, if you go forward, Christian. Hello.
have to unmute myself. I just wanted to say, yeah, by the way, this is, if you were asking yourself, this is entirely shot on iPhones of our designers. So yeah, so much on the production efforts. And here we are with the Q&A one. So yeah, back to you, Chika, if you want.
Yeah, for the Q&A, of course, we also worked hand in hand again with Customlytics to create this. We had the concept in our head, but of course they came up with the strategy on how to, communicate, on how to best communicate this strategy to our customers. And the best way was for us to find out what were the most pressing questions that our users had. How can we communicate their response, to these questions? How can they feel more at home with WeShare? Do they have all the information they need to actually register? And this is why you see that we came up with questions in a very creative way on, informing users head on. This is what you would need to already register with us. So if you see this ads, you already know if you meet the requirements or not, so as not to bring in users that were not of the quality that we wanted. And this made sure that we only brought in quality users that already knew all the requirements they needed even before registering, knew how to basically use the cars, knew how to reserve the cars, knew how to register. And this was actually pretty impactful, and I'm sure you can imagine why. Next. So and I'm sure you're wondering, okay, so since we created the generic and the brand related ads, what was the performance? How did they differ from each other? As you can see here, the brand related campaign actually did not perform as well as the user generated QA content. We had an uplift of 25% in click-through rate. People felt the ad was more relevant to them, which is why they kept clicking on it. They wanted to know more. They wanted to, I'm sure maybe perhaps somewhere in the mind of one customer or the other, they have perhaps heard about WeShare before, and the video just sort of like gave them this short but brief history or information about WeShare. And furthermore, we added this ad actually brought us a huge uplift in conversions. As you can see, the impressions to installation almost tripled, which was pretty impressive, because for us, this was just like a trial phase. We just wanted to see if it's going to be successful, to communicate indirectly, or should I say directly, with our customers without actually seeing them face to face. We just wanted to know how best to communicate in the language that they understand. And obviously this campaigns performed really well, thanks to user-generated content. And lastly, we also see an uplift in installations. Like I said before, one of our main KPIs is registration, followed by installations. And this new user-generated ad actually brought us an uplift in installations of 30%, which is pretty nice for the short frame of time that we've run it on TikTok. Moving forward.
If I'm not muted again. I can quickly go back. Yeah, thanks a lot for showing this, Chika. I think great success story. Happy that that kind of has worked out. Maybe we kind of move on to the lessons learned now, and sharing some for everybody in the audience, sharing some key takeaways of what we've learned running these ads on TikTok. So number one, kind of obvious one, is that, yeah, make authentic videos, not even just only videos, make authentic ads, communicate with your customers in the language that they understand. And also, and by the way, this is the same language that the other content on the platform uses. That's why it's called user-generated content, because the language that you use should also be the same as with the content that is there from their friends and whoever is kind of in their network. So yeah, make authentic videos. Number two is keep it short and sweet. It's better to have, because that's just in line with the other content on the platform. It's better to have shorter and multiple videos explaining different things, like you saw in our examples, that's better than having one mega version that is like 3 minutes long and nobody will watch until the end. Again, very much in line with the mechanics of the platform. TikTok videos, or TikTok ads, it is about kind of keeping it short. Nobody is watching longer videos on the platform, so your ads have to fit that. Portrait mode, yes, of course. On TikTok, I think it's clear the app is in portrait mode. All the other content that is there is in portrait mode, so you have to stick to that as well. No more 16:9 quality produced ads that use another platform. So yeah, I think again, 1 to 3 is just everything that is kind of natural with the platform. Number 4, then captions and the call to actions to work. Yeah, so that's still a thing, as it is with other online marketing activities. It still helps to put call to actions and captions on the ads to trigger an action, also to explain stuff. Of course, you've seen the Q&A ads. I think great examples of useful kind of caption on the ad. So yeah, do that, and then last up, understand again how the content on the platform feels, and then try to replicate that in your user-generated content ads, and try to replicate this look and feel.
As a quick addition, sorry to cut you short, Christian. So we already know that to a large extent, the user base of TikTok comprises of Generation Z audience, so people from 18 to 34, and these people relate or resonate more with authentic assets. So having an asset that not just just says this is a service that I have to provide and stuff, but a service that actually thinks like them, a service that actually shows some sort of thoughtfulness towards what they feel they might need, which is why creating user generated content seems to work more on these ads, because these users connect more to these ads than they would normal brand made content.
Absolutely. And last up, it's not just us liking the ads and the performance that we saw. Actually, the campaigns that you saw are also awarded by TikTok as a kind of best practice in their kind of gallery in the automotive category. So yeah, there must be something to them. Maybe some additional insights once we're at the kind of lessons learned that we've gathered during the campaigns. Very much again on the authenticity, difficult word, part where, like I said, people don't want to see ads that are clearly ads on the social media platforms. That's just how it is. So yeah, stick to that. And there's actually the second part, maybe more powerful even, is that we see a big change in how we consume media. So what you see with the social media platforms these days is that the attention span actually shrinks. So it's shorter content, shorter video pieces, shorter attention span in general. And that goes back to the point of why you should keep it short and sweet with your user-generated content ads on those platforms. It's the very same reason. It has to be kind of consumable by the consumers of today. Then kind of going back to the headline of the entire talk, high production cost does not equal high impact. That's kind of the main point that we're making here, is that everything you saw here was produced in a very cost-effective and cheap way. The shots were shot on the iPhones of our designers, essentially. The people that you see in there are, I think, the biggest part Customalytics people. So and that's perfectly fine for this kind of content. So I think the learning here is that it's probably one of the most cost-efficient ways to kind of generate high-performing ads in kind of today's media landscape. And then we get to the final point, which is an interesting one. We will talk about it in a second in a bit greater detail. What you can try, or what you should then try, is to actually not only have this as a kind of TikTok exercise, but start to use user-generated content on different marketing channels. You might be surprised how well it works on other channels as well. And that's actually something that we will also do in the next steps. So back to you, Chika, for the next steps. Oh, I think you're on mute now. It happens when happened to me as well.
Okay. So the next steps. I don't know if you can guess it already, but it's quite obvious. We see that user-generated content have brought us quite a lot of uplifts in all our KPIs. So on registration side, on installation side, and all of that. So right now, what the next steps are for us would be how can we improve on this user-generated ads? Of course, since we're running in-feed ads on TikTok, this ad feature allows people to like, comment, share, and follow our page. So we always keep an eye on that in order for us to be able to monitor how our customers actually respond to these ads. So the next steps for us would be to roll out this campaigns, this new user-generated ads in correlation with custom analytics. Like I said earlier on, they are helping us, supporting us on the design side with creating these user-generated ads, and they've been doing quite a great job. So we would roll out this ads on Facebook, Google, YouTube, and all the other platforms where we do our marketing in order for us to see if it will have the same impact that we already see on TikTok, because we already know that user-generated content work perfectly well on TikTok. But now we want to know if they also work well on other platforms, and yeah, that's the next way forward for us. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. So that marks the end of the main agenda for today. So now we will open up for questions that you might have.
You're muted.
James, I think you're also muted.
You think we would know by now, but I must apologize. I was muting you. You were muting us. Yeah. We've already had quite a few of these answered. There was one. Well, Guillem he's the CEO of Heavy. He was quite surprised that it sounds like the user-generated ones worked, but yeah. And I think we've answered that. These were produced, so not strictly user-generated, but produced by designers. Yeah, working at the agency, and so they kind of knew, I guess, what they're doing visually, and then you use and it was done very simply using an iPhone.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and Chika, did you oversee the process, or you were reviewing kind of stuff as it came in and giving guidance, or did you look at the sort of end result?
Well, I would say from the start to finish, from the conceptualization to the end, we worked hand in hand together. They came up with a strategy on how to move forward, the kind of questions that we should put on it, what could really pique the interest of the customers, and then they went out, created the videos, made sure that they made it as organic as possible. I mean, they are the experts in that area, so of course they know what to do, and they created it, and they came back, and then we just had a few moderations every now and then, but nothing so major. And when we felt that it was good enough, we set it up live.
Great. And did you face any pushback internally from using this style of ad, or from the different stakeholders that we share, or they were happy with the approach?
I would say no, we didn't face any. I mean, it was a very new approach given to us by Custom Analytics, and it was one that was very well welcomed by members of my team. And we were curious to see how it would perform. I particularly was very curious, and I remember we all talked about it, and we are like, okay, this is a new approach. We're looking forward to see how it will perform, because normally businesses are just concerned, or should I say marketers are just concerned with creating brand related content. They're not really concerned with how the audience would feel, what would really pique the interest of the audience. So it was really good that Custom Analytics came up with this idea, in order for us to try and communicate, with the audience in the language that they understand.
Great. And so the next step is rolling it out onto TikTok, from TikTok to other platforms.
Yeah.
And you haven't managed to. Okay, I think we've got some more slides. Well, okay, we'll do that in a second. So next steps,
just in the end.
roll out onto other platforms. And how are you going to keep this campaign fresh? So presumably these creatives are going to degrade pretty quickly. you know, you're going to go even further out and use influencers to make the ads, or you're going to do the same thing with a slightly different take on it, different kind of use case? What's the kind of the plan from here?
It's quite difficult to say. I mean, we do know now that user-generated content are something to definitely keep an eye on, and we would, look into that and make sure we're as consistent as possible in that regard. As for rolling it out on several social media platforms and stuff, we'll see. Yeah, well, we're committed to making ads from now on, that actually correlate with the specific channels where we feel like they would make the most impact.
Great. Okay, so Kristen, you said we got a couple more slides, so let's
two shameless plugs we got. So first one is from Risha, actually. So Chika, if you might.
Yeah. So we have something special for you today. As you know, like I said, we're an electric car sharing company, and we provide the benefits of having a car, except we provide it better. We have a promo code for new users in case you're interested in driving an electric car, or in case you're just interested in knowing what it feels like to drive an ID3, or if you're lucky, one of our exclusive ID4s in Berlin. You already have a start bonus of 20 euros for new users, and for those that already have an account with WeShare, we would offer an additional 1 month free for you to, spend the Christmas with.
Very good, very nice Christmas present. So thanks a lot for that. Make sure you note down the codes, and if you don't, you can probably also reach out later, and we will send them to you. And then my shameless plug, like I told before, we used the marketing master map to kind of enter the conversation of today. So I'm also using it to end the conversation of today. My recommendation is, go to the Marketing Master Map website, get one yourself. You can get a physical version even for your home or office, or that's the same thing then for that place. Or you get a digital version. There you can, essentially Google it, or you use the QR code that's written on here. Get a version of that, and I think it will help you a lot in kind of validating your marketing strategy, understanding if you have any blind spots anywhere, and just allow for more kind of mobile growth for your product. Invest a lot of time into it. I would love to hear your feedback. If you have anything, if there's any channel you think that's missing, if you think that, I would like to add this and that, please drop me a line, and I would be happy to hear about how you kind of use that in your marketing. So that ends the session of today. Thanks a lot. That's it from my side. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great, thanks both of you. Great to meet you, Chika. And I think we'll try and put that offer into. There's an offers section of the site. We can maybe add it in, so we can turn it into a sort of digital offer. And really interesting case study. And really enjoyed it. So thanks very much. And
so much.
see you soon. Thanks.
Stay safe. Bye.